Hi, I'm Lori Pickens, a photographer and photo educator. I'm passionate about helping photographers just like you get profitable and productive in their own businesses. As a mom to 3 kiddos, I know how hard it can be to juggle all the demands of life. But I also know that it's possible to have a successful business and a happy family. And that's why I created Photo Goals, a podcast for creative business owners who want to learn tangible steps to automate their business through workflows, systems, tools, and strategy in order to go from scattered to streamlined with purpose. On each episode, I'll share simple, actionable strategies and systems that photographers at every level of experience can use. No fluff, just the good stuff. I can't wait to help you achieve your photography goals. Let's do this. Hey everybody, and welcome back. Today's episode, we're going to talk about using constraints to strengthen your creativity. If you're like me, this time of year, we're coming off a busy season. A lot of us feel burnt out or tired, and there's a million other things on our to-do list for Christmas activities and shopping and all of those sorts of things. And we can kind of get in this creative rut. I know for me, a lot of times coming off of a lot of client work, I want to do something for me. I want to capture my own kids. I want to do something that fuels my creative soul. So one of the greatest ways that I have found to kind of boost this creativity is to actually use constraints. And this might sound contradictory, but it's true. By limiting yourself and your choices, you're not only removing the overwhelming ideas or ways to get started, but you actually force yourself to work within a defined limits and push what you already know or habits that you rely on. So let's talk about a few ideas for creative constraints that you can use. One idea is to limit the gear you have. I know we all get caught up in what's the next best thing, or what's this new lens, or what's this new camera that could help me. And sometimes if you think back and limit even what your choices are, that can spark interest and can push you to try new things that maybe you haven't had relying on all of your options and all of your gear. So a few things you can try is use one lens for a whole week or a whole month. Maybe this is a lens that you bought because you thought you had to have, and then you find yourself never using it. Try either like a wide lens, if that's something that you don't normally shoot with, or even a long lens. I know I had a good photographer friend that was telling me she shoots a Project 365 project like I did at the time. And she told me her most used lens was her 85 millimeter. And to me, I was thinking, how do you use an 85 millimeter in your home all the time? Aren't you too close for that? You know, I think I find myself in my home shooting a lot more with like my 24 to 70 because I need to be able to get up close or move back and things like that. And I loved her work. And she actually had a lot more up close portraits, a lot of fill the frame kind of moments. And she used her 85 for it. Some people will use something like a creative lens, like a lens baby lens. Say all you can do all month long is use lens baby lenses. You know, people will say, I love my lens baby, but I'm not fast enough with manual focus to be able to use it. I feel like I'm going to miss things. One surefire way to get better and faster at that is to practice it. Is to, if that's what you have on your camera when you go to the walk at the park, your kids are doing a art activity and you're wanting to just capture the moment, you can play while they play. You can practice using that creative lens and get better at the manual focus. Another idea is to say you're only going to create faceless images for a week or a month. You know, you kind of learn, it's easy to get caught up in the emotions or the reaction on a person's face. But when you're trying to tell a story, a faceless story, where it's the back or it's the shadow or it's something where that character, that person in your shot, the subject could be anybody. You learn to take more detailed shots. You learn to take more pullbacks. It's just a great idea for if you can't rely on emotion, if you can't rely on the person's smile, person's happy eyes, how can you still tell that story? Another idea of how you can limit yourself is subject matter. So say you're going to take a self-portrait every day for a month. Say you're going to only shoot flowers, or maybe not even only shoot flowers. Say you're going to photograph macro every day. If it's something that you're passionate and you want to practice, I know for me, now that my kids are a little bit older, and my one son wants to play video games, so I don't have as many in between little quiet moments of him doing things and stuff like that. I've found a lot of joy in learning macro and kind of growing those skills. So maybe you decide for a whole month, you're going to have pretty flowers around, and each day you're going to take them out and try them by a window, try them on a dark background, try them with the lens maybe, and just see what kind of creativity comes out of having to shoot the same thing every day and not get bored. Another thing that people do is if you change not only the gear, but maybe the medium that you're shooting on. If you've always been a digital photographer and maybe you find yourself overshooting, try film, try analog where, there's a whole other level of thought and intention that goes into film photography because you literally think to yourself, I'm paying X amount of dollars for every time I click the shutter button. And it really makes you slow down. It makes you think about the light. It makes you think about the things in the frame that maybe you want to fix before you take the picture. A lot of people, if they've done a Project 365 project for a while and want an extra push, maybe they actually say, I will only take one shot every day. So it's not we're shooting 50 things and I'm picking my favorite. It's actually, I'm taking one picture every day. And so obviously you're going to make that picture count. And one other idea that I love for constraints is to limit where you can shoot. So let's say you're going to shoot in the same spot every day for a week. Maybe this is a hub of your house. Maybe this is the room where daddy leaves for work or where the kids put their shoes on or where you hang up your backpacks. I know we have like a mud room that's kind of our central, everything comes in and out of it. And so if you shoot a picture in that same spot every day for a week, you have to find new and creative ways to still make it interesting. I did this project called One Spot, 5 Different Ways with our staircase. We have a landing, we have like a split staircase where, half of it goes down and you have a small landing and the other half comes down. And it has one big window on the back side of it. But it's just so neat because you can get so many different looks from actually a very small little area. So some ideas that you can use to create variety in one specific location is to shoot at different times of the day. Notice how the light changes in that one spot or room throughout the day. Does backlight come in differently? Does a bright spot show on the wall at certain times of the day? How can you use that different look and feel of the same space in different ways? You can change up your own perspective or angle. Shoot from above, shoot from below, shoot straight on. And you can try different lenses in the same area. Use a wide angle, use a long lens, use a tilt shift, use a creative lens. Try to incorporate different compositional techniques. Shoot through something. Literally find something that you can get behind and shoot through to create depth. Use balance. Find leading lines that come, in my staircase, I know I loved using the stair railing, using the baseboards, or just anything that you can use to add those compositional techniques. But again, the idea is my space isn't changing. This is the same space that I shot in yesterday. But now, looking at it today, looking at it differently, what can I do that is still interesting and creative and is different than maybe something that I've ever seen before? Another way to add variety is to change up the story or intention. Shoot the entire scene. Maybe you step back and today maybe it's even your kids as they're getting ready to leave for school. And one day you're shooting a detail shot of them tying their shoes. Or, my daughter likes to wear cat socks. Maybe the next day I'm shooting back and it's my 2 kids both trying to find their shoes in the shoe closet and, or big brother helping little sister find her shoes and things like that. Shoot a connection. So you can change the story in the same space. And maybe there's the same story. Maybe it's my kid playing on shoes, but there's a very different feel and a different creative look that you can capture between a detail shot versus a portrait versus pulled back view of the entire story. So it's fun ways to not only capture memories, but also to find some creativity in your art and what you want to do. So to summarize, I know we've talked about several different options here, and I'm hoping that maybe one of them resonates with you. Maybe one has sparked an idea or some kind of inspiration, and you can see what kind of constraints you can create for yourself, whether that's shooting one type of subject, one specific tool or medium, focusing on one specific project or idea that you have, and just strip away all the extra noise and all the extra options and superfluous things that actually end up limiting you by overwhelming you and what you want to create. And find that, creative constraints will set you free in your photography and in your life. If you choose one of these options, if this has inspired you and you go and you shoot this week or this month or whenever it is that you're listening to this episode, I would love to see it. I would love for you to tag at Lori Pickens on social media so I can see what you captured, or send me a DM about what spoke to you or how you're going to use this in your own daily shooting. I hope that you find inspiration in your own creative constraints and you create something beautiful. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Photo Goals. If you enjoyed this content, it would mean the world to me if you left a review or send this to your business bestie. Be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss the next episode. And as always, check out the show notes for links to all my resources and info. And as I tell my kids every day, be kind and make good choices.
Thanks for listening to Guiding Reader Review.